Welcome back. I'm Conrad, co-founder of LifeSpark, here with my cousin and co-founder, Jack.
At LifeSpark, we empower people to take control of their health, fertility, longevity, and wellness. We dive into the stories, science, and strategies driving health forward in America.
Today, we're joined by Lindsey Graham, also known as Patriot Barbie. Lindsey first gained national attention when she defied Oregon's COVID and lockdown mandates, reopening her salon, which sparked a nationwide conversation about small business and government overreach. Since then, she's become a prominent voice for faith, freedom, and entrepreneurship, launching multiple businesses, writing a book, and hosting her own pod. Lindsey, welcome to LifeSpark. And for those who don't know you, can you introduce yourself?
Hello. Thanks, guys, for having me. I am now, 5 years later, almost to the anniversary, more of a political activist, keynote speaker, an influencer in the conservative realm because of my defiance of Oregon in 2020. Relaunched my life, changed my life forever, and gave me the great awakening that we all so desperately need, and put me on a course of being a voice for, wellness, moms, traditional values, all those things. So that is who I am now. The left called me the Patriot Barbie, and they created a monster.
Can you tell us about Patriot Barbie? I think that's such a great name, and I think it just stands for a lot of things that you stand for.
Thank you. Yeah. So when I was defying lockdowns in 2020, the left had called me, a murderer, the COVID killer, far right-wing extremist, all these things that I certainly was not. And when I finally admitted, okay, I did vote for Trump in whatever year it was, 2016, put a MAGA hat on, my first MAGA hat. And they made a meme out of my face that said, I don't always play the Patriot Barbie, but when I do, I kill people's grandmas and I steal their money. And I know that they meant that to be just the most horrific insult ever. And I looked up the definition of Patriot, and I looked up the definition of Barbie. And I basically made a whole post about it and said, you called me an attractive woman who loves her country. Like, that is not an insult. I'm sorry. And so I changed all my social media to Patriot Barbie just to poke back at them. And before you know it, the next thing I knew, I was being introduced on the news as the Patriot Barbie. And I was like, all right, this is a thing. And so it's kind of, originally it was like my alter ego. I was a mom, a wife, a normal woman at home, minding my own business. And then my husband would joke and say, oh, she's going to go all Patriot Barbie on you. And then, it became like part of who I am. You cannot ignore what's going on in this country and make it like a side gig. It's a full-time fight. So the Patriot Barbie is certainly an honor. And I thank the left for their hatred in giving that name to me.
Yeah. And I feel like with social media, things will just blow up. Did this kind of happen overnight? Did you expect the level of backlash on one side and then support on the other side?
I love to answer this question, because when I say that I was asleep prior to 2020, I had no idea that there was a political divide that extreme going on in our country already. And I was literally just going to work, raising my kids, minding my own business. I didn't talk politics with anyone. I was proud of that. And when I opened my salon against the government, I honestly, genuinely believed everyone in the country will support me. Everyone has to be feeling this way. There's no way there's someone out there that thinks we shouldn't have a right to work and we should sit back and collect money from the government and suffer, right? And so I went in completely naive. When I opened up, the news was outside my door. There was a huge press conference. And I went back and I watched the comment section. And I was like, oh my gosh, there are people that hate me for this. What? They're like making fun of the way I look. They're making fun of the way I talk. They're making fun of my family. They're trying to run background checks on me and calling me a grifter. And I'm like, I don't understand this. It was the first moment where I realized, oh my word, there are people in this country who would rather sit home and collect government money and not have their freedom than have their freedom. And it was very, very shocking to experience that for the first time.
So, Lindsey, you obviously face criticism, even threats for speaking out. How do you stay firm in your convictions without letting the negativity get to you?
I don't often want them to hear this, but sometimes it is a little disheartening. Sometimes it does get to you when it's sometimes in cult-like fashion like they do. I'll give you an example. Just recently, I made a post and a reel, and it ended up on the opposite side of Instagram. I mean, it ended up being seen and viewed by only people that would hate what I stand for. And the entire comment section is degrading, attacking, assaulting, verbal abuse, slander, hate. I mean, it was like wild to see. Did any of my actual followers see this reel? Because there's not one person that's supporting me in this comment section. And that can wear on a person. It really can. But I think what God did was in 2020, the verbal assaults were so severe and so sudden. I was like literally forged in fire to take a completely normal person that had never done anything like this before and all of a sudden have hundreds of thousands of people texting, calling, emailing, messaging, DMing, all of the things, nothing but hate for like 6 days straight. It was like, if you can come out of that not suicidal, then you can withstand anything. And I always will remember that there was a time 5 years ago where it felt like my entire community wanted me to die. Literally death threats against my children, death threats against me. Everybody hates you. You're this horrific person. You're a racist. You're a white nationalist. Like every attack possible. And I remember I got through that. I mean, and I got through that a stronger person because of the Lord. Choosing to show me who my identity was. So even on social media now, I turn to Christ every single time. And I ask him to remind me who my identity is, because these people, this is what they do for a living. They don't have jobs. They're pathetic. They don't have anything better to do than slander other people. I personally I'm proud to say I've never gone and done that to anyone. Being able to have God as your center and your identity in Christ is a game changer for enduring these kind of attacks.
Yeah. Going back to TikTok, Instagram. Are you on TikTok actually, or just
I'm
Instagram?
Barely on TikTok. I've been kicked off 3 times.
Yeah, there you go. TikTok has wild moderation. We've had a couple doctors on, and if we say anything, if we just say the word COVID, it gets automatically deleted, which is wild.
This whole episode.
Yeah. Social media loves polarizing content. I feel like whenever we post something that has 2 sides of an opinion, that's really when it gets views. Why do you think that people feel the need to post death threats, to you when you're just trying to protect your business? Do you think it helps them sleep at night, or do they just have nothing going on?
I think maybe a little bit of both. I really believe that they were the people that were happy to sit at home and collect government, welfare, essentially. Like, we're told you can't work, and so we're going to give you an unemployment check. I didn't get that. Because I wasn't employed by anybody. I was a business owner, and that's the big difference is they can sit and collect a check. I cannot. If I stay home and stay safe, no one is paying my bills and no one is handing me a handout, which I wouldn't want anyway. So it was a combination of they have nothing better to do but sit around. Now they don't have their job. Now they don't care. But also they're so strongly convicted by their belief system. I mean, to be that passionate that you would wish death upon someone. I am vehemently pro-life. I wish that abortion doctors did not exist. Do I ever email or text an abortion doctor and say, I hope you die a violent death. I wish your mom would have aborted you. Like, I don't say those things to people, and I'm very passionate about what I believe in. So if I have to be honest, I think that we're witnessing like a spiritual possession of these people. I mean, they are like literally demonic. Something in them is so hateful. They can't resist. They can't resist wishing you would die because your opinion differs from theirs. That's not normal. That's not human. That's not humanity. And that's certainly not what they claim to be a part of, inclusivity and love and tolerance. Like, come on, that's a no-brainer. When you go and say that because you have a different opinion than I do, I wish you were dead. That's not tolerant. And our side really is the side of tolerance. And I can say that I've never wished a death wish upon anyone with a differing opinion. And my values and my beliefs are much more moral than theirs are.
Lindsey, to shift gears for a second, you've built multiple businesses. I know you have an apparel company, you do payment processing for high-risk companies. What would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned as an entrepreneur that you wish someone would have told you from the start?
I have now done this. I have now built my businesses on my belief system. When I hear businesses say that they They don't want to speak up on politics because they're afraid of the backlash. It's like, the other side has no problem canceling you when they feel like it, because eventually it's going to come out. And these other businesses have no problem being outward about their beliefs. Starbucks flies BLM flags. Starbucks does Pride Month, like it's the holiday of the century. Those are political beliefs, and that company has no problem speaking on them. Now, I would tell any business owner that has a different belief system, especially a conservative one, do not stay quiet. They are not staying quiet. And the more you don't speak up, the harder you make it for those of us who do, because we have to carry the weight of that cancel culture all on our own shoulders. And considering who won the presidency this year, it's very clear that more people agree with you than don't. And if you were to be bold about your values, the people that agree with you will come, they will spend their money with you, and they will support you. But on the flip side, I have no respect for cowardice. If you are a closet conservative Christian business, but you're staying quiet because you don't want to rock the boat, I don't have a lot of interest in coming to your rescue, coming and supporting you. And I'm more ashamed that you're making it so much harder for those of us that do stand on our values boldly. I would like to see, I will go out of my way. I will go out of my way and I will spend more money, and I will spend money on an item I don't even need to support a Christian conservative business because of the boldness that it takes to come out like that. And I think that that's what people are lacking. The recognition that if you stand up boldly for what you believe in, we will support you. We will come and have your back. But if you stay hiding, that does nothing for anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And specifically for women, right? You're an advocate for women taking ownership of their beliefs, right? Their businesses and their faith. What message would you specifically have for women who feel the pressure?
I would say that, for women who are moms, the biggest thing that you can do is be a mother to your child and be an example to your child. And I will say that one of the greatest joys of being Patriot Barbie is having my children recognize what Patriot Barbie does. To them, I'm not an icon. I'm not an influencer. I'm not a celebrity. To them, it's like, well, you speak up about what you believe in and you don't stay quiet and you make a difference. That's what they recognize. And I think that your children will live out their life either in the fear that you show them or the boldness that you show them. And if you're showing them, hey, we believe these things, we just don't talk about them because it's very controversial, or we don't want to talk about them because some people don't agree and we don't want to hurt feelings. Your children are going to learn that and they're going to carry on that legacy. And the last thing we need is the next generation being as submissive and quiet and timid and fearful as this generation is, especially when the Bible calls us to do the opposite. The Bible calls us to speak boldly about our faith and to be fruitful and multiply. So take those children and raise them in a manner in which they will boldly proclaim their belief system in the church, in Jesus, in biblical values. You are teaching them exactly what you're teaching them what you show them.
So on the topic of younger generations, Lindsey, I know that you're involved with Turning Point USA and other conservative groups. How do you see younger generations shaping American politics?
Oh man, Turning Point has done a lot of amazing things as far as getting into colleges and schools, igniting and activating those young people. I think it's going to be a game changer. I think if Turning Point did not exist, we would live in a very different country. I'm seeing that it's starting to look more cool to be a conservative. It's starting to be, I don't want it to be a trend because this is not a trend. This is a belief system. But it's almost like if you're MAGA, you're cool. You work for a living. You believe in gender roles. You believe in genders in general. You believe in capitalism and a free country. And we're marking those students, like, for example, the 3 students that, oh gosh, it was maybe 6 months ago. Some kids were trying to damage the American flag. And these university students jumped in and they stood against all of these kids protecting the flag. Those kids are heroes and we are lifting them up as heroes. And so it's like, you're not cool for hating this country. You're not cool for being trans because it's a trend. You're not cool for advocating for a cult called Pride. You're cool when you love this country, you believe in traditional values, and you carry on the traditional society that we're all seeking and missing. And so I love that that is becoming like the hip thing to do is be conservative, because being conservative goes against the grain. Isn't that weird? Now you're unique because you're not following along with Pride and BLM and like whatever the current thing is to virtue signal. You're going against that, and that makes you different and unique, and that's what makes you cool.
Absolutely. And we're seeing trends, right, with younger folks, particularly with Christianity, and more of this younger generation are turning to Christianity, which is, we're seeing a lot of networks are attracting younger people, particularly millennials. What do you think that trend is coming from, when on the other side, I think people in the LGBTQ group has tripled in this generation?
Well, it is really sad because I get comments and messages from moms and Christians all the time on my Instagram that their kids who are going to a public school are coming out as trans or coming out as gay. And if they are, that's a different topic. But I think that it's becoming like a disease, a trend of, well, to fit in, you can't just be normal. You've got to be something super unique. You've got to change your sexual identity or have a unique sexual identity or change your gender identity to feel like you're somebody. And I think that goes all the way back to the spiritual war that we're in. We as humans should be able to recognize that who we are the perfectly created image of God. We are exactly how God created us. And our identity is in who Christ says we are. And we are seeing these kids growing up in godless homes, in godless schools, in a nation that disrespects and, deep platforms God, Christianity. If they knew their identity and it was in something rooted that couldn't be changed or altered based on someone else's opinion of you or what the trend is, they wouldn't feel the need to pick something else random to identify themselves as. I don't identify myself as a straight female or a straight mom I don't even identify myself as a wife. Those things are flexible. If my children were to die, I wouldn't be a mom. If my husband were to divorce me, I wouldn't be a wife. And being a female, the country is half female and half male. Like, that's not cool. My identity is in who my creator says I am. And I'm so rooted in that you can't change how I feel about myself by your opinion of me. And these kids are vulnerable because they are not being rooted in an identity that is within themselves that can be unchangeable. And so looking around at, it looks like it's cool to be gay. All right, well, then I'm gay. I want to be cool. I want to be accepted. That's my new identity. It makes me something identifiable. Okay, well, I'm actually trans. I'm the opposite gender that I was born as. What are the chances that you're the opposite gender that you were born as? Like, there's only two genders and you happen to be the wrong one. That's all a chance to say, this makes me who I am. And now this is something I can talk about and it makes me special. And if we had our identity in Christ, we wouldn't have that pandemic happening.
Lindsey, on shifting gears to the topic of health, are there any specific foods or protocols or habits that help you stay energized and focused?
I am starting to see the value in, it's so dumb to even say it out loud, the basic concept of eating the foods that God created for us, not a factory. So we are huge meat eaters in our house. Hormone-free, vaccine-free Angus beef that is grass-fed, grain-finished, whole grain, not processed grain, eating those clean meats, eating fresh vegetables, fresh herbs, going back to butter instead of margarine, like products that are from the earth, from the animals that God gave us, instead of fast food. Like, so many people are eating fast food. So many people are eating meals made in packages. It's just so basic, but I just can't believe more people haven't seen the value in that. And we're all on a journey, right? I'm certainly not perfect. I still eat certain candies and certain processed foods that are just delicious. I know they're not good for me, but the more that we can do to change our lives, the more impact we're going to see. And that's the goal, is to, okay, now we're eating more meat, we're eating more vegetables. What are we experiencing because of that? That drives me to want to do it more and cut out more of the other stuff. And that's where we're at right now, is just starting the journey of taking away the processed food from our kids and really reiterating to them how unhealthy it is for you and how God intended us to live, and bringing back just good old fashioned clean eating in our home.
And Lindsey, you've started multiple businesses. Can you tell us more about them, how they started, what's exciting you now?
Well, I'm really excited about my latest movement, which is, it's called Tox Free Mom. And we're basically a team of moms that refer people to one wellness company that has over 500 products that are all clean and green, made in America, sourced in America, affordable, and delivered to your door. And that's huge because I am one of millions and millions of moms who are starting to look at what's on the packaging of the products that they're bringing into their home. And I recently read an independent study that if you use regular household cleaners in your home once a week, it is the equivalent of smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. So when you think of that in terms of being not just yourself, but a mom, you'd never put a pack of cigarettes into your kid's mouth every day and have them smoke them. That's how damaging these cleaning supplies are for your lungs. I don't imagine telling that fact, that study to any mom and her being like, that's okay. Like, that's okay. So they're all trying to do better for their kids and for their home. And so there is, especially with RFK Jr., what he's doing with the MAHA movement, there is a huge movement of moms who are saying, I'm ready to do better for my family, and shopping clean, green, non-toxic, made in the USA, products that don't even have safety caps. That's how clean they are. And yet they're effective, been around for 40 years. That is exciting to me because I'm helping other moms do what I want to do. And yet I don't have the time to read the ingredients on every label of every product that I buy. I just know that I can trust this one company and my entire house is safe for my children. So that's something I'm really, really excited about now. And my audience has started to grow into about 65% female. And so I'm reaching the demographic that I want, helping other moms, empowering them to start making better choices for their families also.
And you're raising kids today in a world that's drastically different than when we grew up. How do you teach them to be strong, independent thinkers without shielding them for the realities of today's culture?
That is a tough one. I mean, that's definitely a delicate balance. We certainly don't want to live under the stigma of having sheltered our kids, especially since I grew up decently sheltered. And then, I'm not saying this is everyone's story, but I kind of went off the deep end in my 20s because I was so unexperienced in like the world. I made a very bad choice to go do that. But we know that everything that comes into our home has the opportunity to give the devil a stronghold on our children. And so for us, I choose to only listen to Christian music in my car. I choose not to let my kids' heads get filled with filth about drugs and sex and sleeping around in like normal music. I can't remember what it's called. Conventional music. I don't want my son asking me weird questions like, what does that word mean? And it's a very inappropriate word, and he's 11 years old. I don't want to have conversations that I'm forced into. I want to have conversations when I'm ready and I feel like he's ready. We don't let them watch, Netflix, because Netflix is sneaking things in everywhere. We don't let them access computers and the internet. So if you want to say that that's sheltered, but it's our job to protect our kids, not to give them what they want, not to give them the joys of this that the world would consider a joy. I want to be able to go on YouTube. Well, I bet you do. But you know what? I didn't have YouTube as a kid and I turned out just fine. We certainly keep a very close eye on what is coming into our home, what other children are coming into our home, what they're interacting with, what they're listening to, seeing, hearing, playing with, accessing. And I think that I would rather have the label of sheltering my kid than letting them do whatever they want and them accidentally accessing porn or them accidentally getting on a chat with a pedophile. I would certainly rather shelter them than have them get corrupted at an early age by things that are just of this world. And at a point, I will need to introduce them to, like my story. I have a very colorful past. I made a lot of really bad decisions in my 20s. And I want to be the person that's open and honest with them and says, look, there is stuff in the world. Mommy did it. Like, it's not cool. It's not beneficial. It doesn't glorify God. It only caused me harm and pain. It's out there. I need you to know that it's out there. But if I can do everything I can to protect you from it, then that's what I will do, because that's my job.
So, Lindsey, you've been labeled many different things by the media. What's one thing people misunderstand about you?
I posted something today that's getting a lot of controversy already. And I think there's not one specific label. If I had to pick one, I'd say Republican, okay? Because I'm a Republican. But I feel like the world is trying to put everybody in these two boxes, Republican and Democrat, conservative and liberal. And there are things I disagree with Republicans. And there are, a million things I disagree with about Democrats, liberals. But I don't think it's fair to say that because every Republican believes one thing, I have to believe it too. I have my own opinion. That makes us unique. That makes us a culture. That makes us a society. It's how we deal with those differing opinions is what makes us functional. And today, for example, I posted something that apparently a ton of conservatives disagree with. And I'm like, they're going and commenting, I'm unfollowing you, you missed the mark. And I'm like, how interesting that you would agree with me for 5 years about all these other things. But the minute I have an opinion of my own and I exercise that opinion and you don't agree with it, you suddenly hate that everything else I've stood on. You hate it enough. You hate following me enough that you're going to go and unfollow me. I think that is a very toxic mentality. And I certainly don't operate under that mentality. And so I think putting labels on each other that means that you have to agree with me or disagree with me on every single topic, or we're not matched anymore. I think that's very dangerous, and
And shifting gears to health and wellness, what is your personal supplement routine to stay healthy, if anything?
Oh my gosh, I take so many good supplements. I have my protein right there with my collagen in it. I drank fiber this morning.
Nice.
with an immunity orange packet. I take these vitamins called Peak Performance vitamins. They are world renowned. They have a 90-day money back guarantee. If your blood work doesn't improve in 25 different areas, they'll give you all your money back. Very, very good vitamins. And those come prepackaged. So I have everything I need in this little package that I rip open and take. And then on top of that, I have my probiotic. I have my Estrivol, which is like an estrogen replacement as I get older. Gotta get that. I have, what else do I have? My hair, skin, and nails vitamin. I mean, I eat well, so my body is getting its natural vitamins and supplements. But I think when you find a company like I found, which is the same company, the 500 products that are all sourced in America, and their vitamins are so good and they're so well sourced and they're so tested and proven that it is incredible to see the changes in your health when you dive into a supplement routine, a vitamin routine that is like curated and crafted for who you are, your gender, your needs, your age bracket, all of those things. So I would say that I choose to do this, right? No one's forcing me. I'm not on any medications from Big Pharma. I don't have any medical conditions whatsoever. Completely healthy. I've never had the flu in my entire life. When you have a routine that's working for you and you're seeing the effects on your body, I choose to take, 10 vitamins a day and drink 3 to 4 more of those supplements a day also, because I want to remain this healthy. I want to feel like this forever.
Yeah. And are you vaccinated? I have to ask.
I am not vaccinated. Do you see how I didn't even hesitate? I'm so proud.
Nice. They forced us to get vaccinated. No, of course. They forced us to get vaccinated in business school. Fun fact. And the booster.
Okay. So what are you guys doing to combat that?
TBT. Yeah, we had Dr. Jeff Barkey on, and he recommends doing a detox really to help at a cellular level, taking antioxidants, eating healthy, getting movement, getting into colds. We have a great episode on that. We'll send it to you. But Jack and I both have done we've both done the detox, and we felt great after.
Good.
Yep, Jack.
Yeah, Lindsey. So to wrap up this round of questions, how do you prioritize rest, recovery, or Lindsey time to recharge?
Well, when you say rest, I got to be honest, I don't really do that a whole lot. I operate on a very different level than most people. I have things that I think help recover my body. For example, I love a hot sauna, a dry sauna, to kind of get all those toxins out. I try to do that twice a week. I also love to cold plunge. Isn't that a weird term? I don't love to cold plunge, but I also love to cold plunge. I feel like that has a ton of health benefits. And those really, I believe that they help recharge my body. And I don't need a lot of rest. I really don't. I would probably be considered a workaholic. I have astronomical energy levels, but those things help. The supplements help. The vitamins help. Being toxic free helps. Being overall like eating healthy helps. I would love to see what it would look like for someone to try to do what I do, but not exercise, not sauna, not cold plunge, not take vitamins, and eat terribly. It's no wonder that the society feels like we always need a break. I don't think we all need a break. I think we need to treat our bodies better to be able to handle the capacity that we need to be a mom, be an entrepreneur, be a wife, be an influencer, be an author, be a keynote speaker, travel all the time. I love my life. I love it. I don't feel like I'm overwhelmed. And I think that has a lot to do with staying healthy and feeling like my body is fit to function in the way that I need it to function. And I would not suggest anything other than that.
So, Lindsey, we're going to shift to our last segment here. It's the speed round. It's the most fun. We'll say a quick question and then you just give us a one-word answer.
Okay. Fun.
Let's do it. Okay, I'll start. The word that comes to your mind when you hear the word woke.
Pink hair. That's 2 words. Pink hair, 1 word.
Yeah.
Biggest pet peeve.
People who can't have, it has to be 1 word. Liberals.
A word or phrase. Word or phrase.
People who can't have respectful conversations or debates.
Yep. What's the best advice you ever received?
The worst they can say is no. Always ask.
First thing you do upon waking up.
Pray. Let me expand on that. It literally is. Your brain wakes up before you open your eyes. Your brain knows that you're awake. Before I even open my eyes, I just say, Lord, thank you for this day, for another day. And I just start my prayer because I want to know that if I can't make time during the day for him, and shame on me, that I at least gave him the first moments of my life.
That's awesome. If you could have dinner with anyone, who would it be?
Trump.
What is the best compliment you've ever received?
You're prettier in real life.
What's the most ridiculous thing someone has accused you of?
Being a Nazi.
Who would you choose to play you in a Patriot Barbie movie?
Me.
I love that. Why not? What's the craziest message you've ever gotten?
Man, there's a lot of crazy people out there. I would say it was probably the death threat when I first opened my salon. There was one specific one. It was the very first one I ever got, where they literally said, I hope your kids get COVID. I hope you get COVID. And I hope you die a miserable death alone. Loving and tolerant. Okay.
If you could teleport anywhere right now with your family, where would you go?
Wow, this is a tough one. Anywhere. Boy, I'm so content and happy right where I'm at. Maybe Mar-a-Lago, just for the fun of it.
What's next for Patriot Barbie?
I love this question. I don't know, because I gave my life to the Lord in 2021 again and told him, I genuinely trust you. Whatever it is you're doing here, taking away my businesses, ruining me financially and security. I don't know what you're doing, but I trust you. So I don't know what he has.
That's great. Cool. That concludes our speed round. I just got one final question for you. What would be one final piece of advice you'd give to someone who wants to stand up for their beliefs, but is afraid of backlash?
I would say do it. Just that simple, do it, because the Lord rewards the bold. And I will say that if I had stayed quiet in Oregon and I had kept my salon shut and I just obeyed and complied, I would probably be bankrupt, broke, and I don't even know what position I would be in. But because I stood up, because it was the right thing to do, the Lord rewarded me for being strong and faithful and going against and speaking up against what I knew was wrong. If you're afraid of being canceled, you should be. But being canceled is the best thing that's ever happened to me. You will get canceled. It's very, very likely. But I'm telling you that when you do, it will be the greatest honor of your life and God will reward it.
In closing, Lindsey, where can people find you, find your podcast and your businesses?
Everything about my businesses and my books, my speaking opportunities are on patriotbarbie.com. And my main platform is Instagram. And on there, I am the.patriot.barbie.
Awesome. Lindsey, thanks for coming on. Everyone, thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us at lifespark.bio as well, and stay tuned for more fun interviews of the health crises shaping America. Lindsey, thanks for joining us. You've been great.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Lindsey.